Hey everyone, Bob here and welcome back to the channel over here at Ruger Gun Dog. As I've been doing, been working through the blood tracking process with my dog Panzer. So I'm out here in this field today and I have been practicing doing the short tracks with a lot of blood and a lot of reward daily. Some days I've been doing even two because the tracks have been really short. They've been only maybe 30 yards at the most. We've progressed along. We've been doing that for about a week now. Panzer's really got the hang. He's using the nose. He is following the blood, drifting off. So we're going to actually take in now, we're going to make it a little bit longer. Well, a lot a bit longer. I'm going to use a lot of blood still, but we're going to keep working through making the blood tracks more difficult. Some of the short tracks that I was doing at home, I had been aging them, had been using less blood, but I really wasn't adding a lot of bends, just one or two bends, and I would help direct them a little bit if needed. But now what I'm gonna do is actually work his concentration to track for a longer period of time. So since we're adding some change, I've got a lot of blood here, and I'm gonna run this down through this field. I'm gonna make one bend and go this way. Now I'm gonna try to make this track, because I'm using a lot of blood here if I don't run out. Little pointer I got from Scott Brosier here. A little hole in that thing, so now I can just squirt it instead of dripping it all over. Like, work smarter, not harder, right, Scott? So anyway, hey, so I'm gonna try to run this blood track out for at least 100, 150 yards with only one turn in it. But what I want Panzer to do is figure out that he has to keep tracking longer. It's gonna be easy track with a lot of blood, but I am gonna age it a little bit. So let me get this blood track down. I'm gonna let this age for a while, and I'm gonna come back with the dog. All right, well, before I go get the dog, I'm gonna show you guys what I do here. So I've got a starting point that I can find. Here I am out in this field that I'm using, and I've got my starting point, which is this rock. So I'm gonna put a heavy dose, right? This is where your arrow went through from your stand, right? And I really want him to know what direction we're going. Let me mess with the camera here. Here we go. So I'm laying down almost a straight line for him here. The little squirts come out pretty nice. Good pointer from Scott Brosier, Pine Hill. So I'm going to keep running this line. I'm going to run this all the way up just to the edge of that tree line. I'm going to work as far as I can until I run out, and then I'm going to plot my treat with my reward. Now, since I'm letting this age out for a while, I did pick a backside of a field where, you know, I'm not worried about somebody else walking their dog and finding my treat or messing with this, contaminating the run. So let me get this blood track finished up and get this down, let it age for a while, and come back with Panzer. All right, guys, I'm back out at the field. It has been about 90 minutes, about an hour and a half since I've went and got old Panzer here and the tracking collar and come back out to the blood trail. I'm not going to get into this with a lot of detail. You can look this up in some other content or all over on the internet. But the aging of your blood trail. So when you first put that blood trail down and it's wet, versus as that blood dries and ages out, the scent conditions of that, they dramatically change. Now let's be realistic. A wet blood trail, it's probably not what we're needing a tracking dog for. Most of the time, if you make that shot and you realize the deer didn't go down, you tried to track a little bit and you lost that trail, it's going to be a while. Most of us archery hunters, you know, the old thing is to wait about an hour before we go tracking anyway. So you've got an hour right off the get-go. Add that into your time looking around, plus going to get the dog. So realistically, that 1 to 2 hour mark is a pretty good point to work yourself up to. Blood trackers that are specific with hounds, they've got a lot of information on this stuff, all kinds of detail about the gaps and the time frames of when things start to get harder. I believe it's something after the 12-hour mark that it actually gets significantly harder for the dog. So that's something to keep in mind if you've got to get out there and try to do some tracking. I mean, I know there's a dozen other variables, rain and different conditions and things of that sort, but time is what we're working on right now. So I am generally, after working these short tracks, even though they're still short, I'm going to start to age the blood out to make that realistic scenting condition of what the dog's going to come across. So I like to try to get to about that hour and a half mark, even for my 30-yard little short drags that we're going to be doing here with more turns, because we're only going to change one variable at a time. And right now I'm making the tracks longer without many turns, but with the aged blood. And then in a while here, what we'll do is we'll shorten them back up and add some turns and stuff to it. So we'll just keep making this a little bit more complex for the dog, but we always want them to succeed right now. We want the dog to get to that reward. So I'm gonna get the tracking collar on Panzer. I'm gonna put him on that blood spot that I started out. And I am just using my phone today, so I don't know if this is, you know, jittery and stuff like that. I'm just filming with the phone. We're gonna get Panzer on this about 150 yards, 90 minutes of dry time on this blood, and let's get the collar on him and go. We've got the camera flipped around here. We're gonna get the tracking collar on. Start our routine out the same way all the time. Heel. And we're gonna get over to our spot. He already knows what he's supposed to be doing. He's wanting to put that nose down. And I'm not gonna pull him back too much. I'm not gonna put him at a strong heel. I want him to do what he knows this collar means. So I haven't even given him the command yet, and he's wanting to start looking. But I'm gonna guide him over towards our rock, right up ahead here. All right, Panzer, come on. It's all right, we're gonna slow him down. There's our spot, right here. Track, 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 track. Give him a little space here. Track, track. If you remember, I ran straight out. Yeah, he's going to do some business over there. That is going to happen. That is reality when you are tracking. He's got to take himself a leak, but we'll get him back on it. He still knows what he's doing. We ran the track straight out to here, right out that way. So let's let him get done doing his business here. All right, track, 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 track. Track. And he's getting on something else over there. Track. 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 And right about here, I made my turn to the right. Let's see if he gets on us. Oh, he is distracted and on something else. Come on, Pants. So this is the reality of this. We're going to back this dog up, and we're going to get him back on the track. All right, and we are back at the starting point. We're going to get him on this blood. Get him right up here onto this. Let's get him up to it. It's right here. There it is, buddy. Track, 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 track. Track. There we go. Track. 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 Good boy. Come on. Track. Good boy. Track. 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 Good boy. Track. 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 We're going to be coming up to our right turn here again soon. Track. Track. Good boy. Track. 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 Good boy. Track. 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 Good boy. And he's quartering on that bloodline. Track. Track. Good. Track. And I'm going to help him here. I'm not going to let him get over there. Come on. Track. 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 There we go. I can see my tracks in the grass a little bit. Track. And he's struggling a little bit right now. Track. 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 There we go. Back on it now. Trek. You can see I've assisted the dog a little bit. Trek. Nothing wrong with that. He's still in school. Trek. Let him go a little faster. I don't want to pull him off of this. Trek. 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 I see his little reward about 5 yards up. Trek. Trek. Good boy. Yeah, there you go. Good boy. He found the bottle and his bone. Good job, buddy. Good job. All right, so a few things you could see there. I had to restart the dog once. We want success. And I had to help him along a little bit. He was getting distracted some, and you know, it may have worked to put some more rewards along the way. Again, this dog has some prior training. If you're doing this and you haven't got to this extent, what I would probably do is shorten the track back up or add more reward along the way. I guided him along a little bit because I want the dog to have success and got him back on the track. But I'm gonna back this up back a little bit. I'm gonna use a little bit more blood again, a couple more rewards. I'm gonna try to keep this distance. He made the turn okay, which was a positive sign. So this was a successful step in the process. A lot more repetition we need to do. Keep working on this, rewards, helping them out, getting them there, and slowly making it more difficult. Every dog is a little bit different, and you need to read them. Today, Panzer was getting on some scent in that tree line, some squirrels or rabbits or things coming out this evening. The sun is getting ready to set. I've got the camera settings on this, making it like kind of light out here. But yeah, he definitely did a pretty good job today. Once I got him back on track, we went about 150 yards, and now he's chewing on the bottle. So there we go, working through the blood tracking. All right, well, I am back at the house, as you can see, and I think I cut that video off just a bit too short. I've got Panzer running around. I was kind of trying to keep an eye on him. But I think this is an important aspect of any training that you do, whether it's the tracking work or something else you're getting your dog ready for. But it's kind of a post-session kind of a review. What went good? What went bad? What can we work on? What do we need to do? Evaluating that session and the takeaways from this track. So we had about a 150-yard track that was aged for an hour and a half. And how did the dog do? Had to restart the dog one time. He got off task, and that's going to happen with a dog that is still working through this. And we had to restart him. And on the restart, he needed a little bit of redirection. So what was the cause of that? Did he need more motivation to stay on the line? Or did he need more scent? Was he losing the scent? And you've got to look at each session and figure out what was going on. Was it something you were doing, or something you did with laying the scent line? Or was it something, distractions that the dog hasn't been exposed to? If you're out trying to track a deer that you shot and your dog is used to going after raccoons and things, you may come across a raccoon scent out in the woods, and is that more exciting to lure the dog off the blood trail? So you've got to think about the distractions and things that your animal's going to encounter. In my case, I think Panzer was getting distracted. It wasn't so much that he lost the scent line, it was the fact that there was something in that tree line that was more interesting to him than that bloodline. And that tells me I'm going to probably need to get a higher value reward and put reward a little bit more often at first and space it out. Because what I want the dog to do is start to think, hey, I want to get to the next reward. I need to use my nose. There's going to be another reward down the line. And at this point, I think that's what I've got to work on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back up. I'm going to keep my scenting about the same, but I'm going to put some rewards along the way instead of just the big reward at the finish line. So the dog knows, hey, there's going to be something if I keep going. Because again, Panzer does have some prior blood tracking and finding deer and things, but he's been out of commission for a while, and that's some content for a different video. But so yeah, so there you go. Post training review, look at it, take some time, kick it over. What happened? Why did it happen? And see if you can come up with some solutions. In this case, I'm going to put more reward down. I'm going to keep on practicing. I'm going to keep on doing it. I want the dog to always have that success. So check back in. We're going to keep on working through this. We're going to keep making the tracks more and more realistic, more and more difficult. And as we keep going forward, there are going to be setbacks where we got to go backwards a little bit. So keep following along, keep checking in, see how Panzer does as we get really close to actually tracking some crop damage. You know, in Michigan, some farmers have their crops being eaten. We're going to go shoot some deer. So see you soon.